Me dice, el pulpo. Y eso que le falta una mano.
Buenos dias, mi gente! Good morning and welcome to our third annual conference, Evolucíon. My name is Edgar Palacios and I am the founder of the Latinx Education Collaborative. We are a nonprofit startup organization based in Kansas City, Missouri, whose mission is to increase the representation of Latinx education professionals in K-12. We try to live our mission out by focusing on three strategic objectives. The first being retention. We realize that a lot of members in the Latinx community who are educators feel isolated within their buildings. And so we want to build a community that feels inclusive, that is welcoming, and that affirms your Latinx identity. Pathway exposure is our second objective. We want to work with middle school students and high school students and talk about education being a viable career option. And third, we want to help schools, districts, organizations recruit and retain Latinx education professionals. It is so important that they have the proper strategies in place, that they are culturally responsive, and that they have the tools necessary to make sure that our community is welcomed and sustained in education. We get asked why we use the term Latinx to describe our community. We see the X as a symbol. We realize that our community is incredibly diverse and that not one term will ever fully identify the incredible richness of our community. This year, while we are based in Kansas City, we have found that there is a need for our organization across the country. We've been able to meet so many people from places like Eastmoreland, Illinois, places like Austin, Texas, places like Miami, Florida, Baltimore, Maryland, Oakland, California, who feel connected to the work that we do. And so we are grateful that you are joining us from all parts of the country today. This conference is for you. We want you to feel energized. We want you to feel excited to go back into work on Monday. I want to take the time to acknowledge our committee members who've worked incredibly hard to make this day possible. When we began the process of planning for today, we didn't know that we would be virtual and we were planning for an in-person event. So I want to thank them and congratulate them on putting them a phenomenal conference in this new virtual space for us. That being said, this event would not be possible without the generous support from our sponsors, Kauffman Foundation, School Smart Kansas City, El Centro, the Black Educators Initiative at Urban Teachers, Urban Ed Academy, and Western Governors University, Missouri. We also want to thank our phenomenal community partners who helped us promote and get this event out to the masses. We're excited to have great breakout presenters and keynotes today. Feel free to engage in the polls, feel free to ask questions, feel free to comment. We really want to hear from you. This is your conference. If you have any questions about transitioning into breakout rooms, or if you have any issues transitioning into breakout rooms or coming back to the space, or whatever that technical issue may be, feel free to put it in the chat and one of our committee members will address it with you. We love that you have joined over 300 registered attendees today. We want you to know that you are a part of a larger community, and we want you to know that myself, our team, our board members, our community are behind you. We're with you in your classrooms. We want you to be successful, and we want you to enjoy the work that you do. And most importantly, we ask that you consider voting. Actually, we ask that you vote. Our voices need to be heard as Latinos in this country, and it's so important that we show up to the polls. I also encourage you that if you enjoyed our conference today, that you join our community. We do a lot of these events and we want to make sure that you're included. And we just want you to have a good time today. We realize it's a Saturday morning. Grab your cafecito, grab something that makes you comfortable, and enjoy the day. Before we move into our morning keynote with Jose Luis Vilson, we want to invite Stephen Linkous, Chief of Staff at Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, Mayor Quinton Linkous, Mayor of Kansas City, Missouri, and Francis Messano, Senior Managing Partner at NewSchools Venture Fund.
Buenos dias. My name is Stephen Linkous, and I serve as Chief of Staff at Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this year's Evolucíon Virtual Conference. As a proud board member of the Latinx Education Collaborative, I absolutely believe that representation matters, and that it is our responsibility to make sure the voices of Latinx educators are elevated in today's world. You know, it makes me think about me coming back to Kansas City last year. Having gone to college here, I came back to a very different city, and as the first Latino Chief of Staff for the Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, it's very important that our kids and our community see people like us representando toda la comunidad. I sincerely hope you enjoyed today's gathering. Thank you for what you do day in and day out on behalf of our students.
Hi, I'm Kansas City Mayor Quinton, and I wanted to talk to you briefly about Evolucíon. We recognize that having more Latinx educators working with our young people and in our communities is vital, not just for our Latinx community, but for all of Kansas City and indeed our entire region. As we come through some very challenging times relating to COVID-19, political polarization, an upcoming presidential election, and troubled race relations in our community and country, we know more than ever that we need people who can build bridges. More than ever, we need people from different backgrounds. And more than ever, people who are looking to reach out and educate our young people, educate our whole community on how we can be better, how we can grow to build a better community, and how long-term we can be great mentors for the young people in Kansas City and beyond. I want to thank Evolucíon for its work with Latinx education and for its work in building a stronger Kansas City each day.
Buenos días y saludos a todos. It is my pleasure to be with you all today. My name is Frances Messano, and I'm a senior managing partner at NewSchools. NewSchools is a nonprofit organization that finds, funds, and supports teams of educators and innovators focused on reimagining K-12 education. I'm excited that I can play even a small role in helping to kick off the Evolucíon conference. And I'm sorry that I'm not with you live. I'm based in San Francisco and it is early here, and I'm definitely not a morning person, but I'm glad that I can share a few words with you today as you kick off the conference. I'm encouraged that more than 200 Latinx educators are coming together to participate in a day of learning so that you can build connections with each other, deepen your practice, and sustain yourselves in the work. We need you in this work. We need your perspectives, your personal experiences, and your solutions to solving the barriers that Latinx students and other marginalized students face every single day. We don't talk enough about the lack of Latino leaders in education. And let me be clear, we don't lack Latino leaders because leaders don't exist. We exist. We exist with tons of strength and talent to bring to bear on the issue of education. It's just that access to opportunity has not existed and certainly has not been equitable. Today, 1 in 4 students in public schools identify as Latinx, and that is growing to 1 in 3 by 2026. Yet only 9.3% of teachers identify as Latinx, and 7% of nonprofit leaders and nonprofit board members do as well. So what this says is that our voices are not heard, our perspectives are not understood, and our community is not represented. So what is being lost because of that? We need to talk about it. We need to engage in that. I believe that we bring much needed understanding of our communities and that we need to be involved in identifying solutions that could solve some of the most pressing challenges we experience in education today. And so all of that to say, our Latinidad is our strength. Our understanding of multiple languages, countries, cultures, and races is an asset. Our collective story of overcoming struggle and persisting through keeps us going. We come from a long legacy of risk takers and entrepreneurs. Did you know that 24% of all new entrepreneurs in this country are Latinos? And many of them talk about the experiences they had watching family members start small businesses. Many of us come from family histories of risk takers as well, whether it's our stories or our mothers, our fathers, our grandmothers or grandfathers' stories of coming to this country in search of a better life, risking it all for opportunity. That is our legacy. That is our strength. I will say I am inspired every single day by the choices that my mother, Ana Nelsi, made to come to this country. She immigrated to the United States from Colombia in the 70s and was undocumented for 8 years. She worked in the garment industry in New York. She ran from La Migra. She worked hard to learn English. And when my sister and I were older, she decided to become a public school kindergarten teacher. Where she wanted to lend her talents was in education. And her journey started when she started volunteering in our school's PTA. She decided to become a paraprofessional. And eventually, over time, she went to school on nights and weekends to earn her college degree and to eventually become a teacher. Her deep focus on education, the risks she took in search of opportunity, her focus on giving back to her family and her community overall animates me to this day. And I also think about my grandmother, Rosa Shara, who only receives a third grade education back home, and the fact that her family rented her out so she could work and earn money so that the family as a whole would have enough to eat. And yet, because of the decision my mother made, her granddaughter now had the opportunity to attend Harvard 2 times. It just is the story of opportunity, the story of risk-taking, the story of the power of education, and is our story. That story is our strength. And so my work is a tribute to my mother. My work is a tribute to my grandmother, and my work is a tribute to all of you. I am proud that I have the opportunity to work at NewSchools and to play a role in funding efforts to bring more Latino and Black leaders into the teaching force and into all roles in education. We have funded more than 43% of the people who receive funding from us across our organization identify as Black and Latino, and we have a lot further to go, but it is a privilege to be able to play a role in supporting the diversity of ideas that exist within our community. And I'm excited that through this work, I've been able to support Edgar and the Latinx Education Collective to support Latinx educators in Kansas City and beyond. Your work is incredible. You are supporting the students who will lead us in creating a brighter and more equitable future for all. So I celebrate you. I wish you a day of learning, of connecting, and of celebrating the critical role you all play every single day. I can't wait to hearing all about it, and wish you an amazing day at Evolucíon.
We at Latinx Education Collaborative want to thank Stephen Linkous, Mayor Quinton Lucas, and Francis Messano for all of your dedication, commitment, encouragement, and support of the Latinx Education Collaborative. We know how important community is, and we know that we cannot do the things that we do without partners like you in this work. Thank you so very much. My name is Cecilia Belser-Patton, and I am so grateful and thankful to be here with us today as we are embracing who we are, amplifying our voices, glorifying our need to represent for our students and our families what it means to be Latinx, what it means to be powerful, what it means to be engaged, what it means to be doing all that we are doing in the field of education and beyond with the Latinx Education Collaborative. I am so thankful to have been asked by Edgar Jose Palacios to be a part of the Latinx Education Collaborative Board of Directors. It feels wonderful to really be present and to move forward in the ways in which we express ourselves as people of Latinx identity. It has so been my great pleasure to be working with Edgar and Latinx Education Collaborative and Susanna and all of our other program partners for the last couple of years. It's been wonderful to do the work of the coalition and our weekly ways in which we reach out to educators, teachers, and administrators and build community together around the issues that we need, around our own self-care, around venting, around best practices, around all the things that we do to really make sure that we are centered and moving forward in ways that best serve our students and their families. And so I'm very thankful for that. I'm very thankful also for the opportunity to launch my podcast with Latinx Education Collaborative called Intersections, in which I will be talking about the intersections of the multiple identities I hold, me as a Latinx person, me as an African-American person, me as a person who loves politics, popular culture, how we identify the ways and the struggles of our identities and how that moves forward in Kansas City, Missouri, and beyond in our region, in our country, and the ever-changing ways in which we access opportunity and our power and our voice. And so I look forward to all of you all joining in with me on that at Intersections with the Latinx Education Collaborative. I am very thankful that Edgar has embraced me. Edgar has given me voice, given me space, and allowed me to be me in space. I consider this whole community a community of familia, a community of people that I am growing with, that I am sharpening, and who are sharpening me. And I'm just very, very thankful for that. And so I think that it is our work to do the things that we need to do from the shoulders that we're standing on, so that we can be shoulders that our students and their families stand on. It is really important. I thank the folks that have gone before me, all the people who have been present with us here, who are really moving forward in this work as well. And so it is important stuff. And I don't want to act as if it's not. I don't want to act as if this is everyday things that we're doing. This is the work of our legacy as people of Latinx descent. And so I'm very grateful to be here, very grateful for all that we've done, and very grateful to be moving forward and making sure that we welcome our keynote speaker well. Jose Luis Vilson is a veteran math educator for a middle school in the Inwood, Washington Heights area of New York City. Whoop, 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 New York. I lived in Inwood too, so yay, Jose, when I was there. That's wonderful. He graduated from Syracuse University and got his master's degree in mathematics from the City College of New York. He's also a committed writer, activist, web designer, and father. He is a doctoral student at Teachers College at Columbia University, focusing on sociology and education. And I think this is really important. Jose Luis Vilson, he really personifies all that educators are. We're not just one thing. We're not only teachers, we're not only administrators. We do a lot of different things in our community because we know that in order for us to really be with our students and their families, that we must do that, right? His first solo project, This Is Not a Test, a new narrative on race, class, and the future of education, was published in the spring of 2014. He is the co-founder and executive director of Educolor, an organization dedicated to race and social justice issues in education. We are so very thankful and proud that he is with us here today for Evolucíon and as our keynote speaker. Please welcome Jose Luis Vilson.